Yerp, it's Perp back with another video, and I just got done watching From Season 2, Episode 3, and I appreciate all the love I've been getting on these reviews. Keep them comments coming, and I'm going to try to respond to who I can respond to, and I just appreciate all the love. But this episode was pretty wild, and we're starting to kind of get some answers, some clues, and things are getting interesting. So it picks up with Boyd talking to Ellis, and he's talking about the trees and where he's been, and Ellis is not really kind of believing it, obviously, and he's also emotional over Fatima, whatever you want to pronounce her name, and it leads to them to kind of pretty much bond, because Ellis kind of lashes out at Boyd and says, like, yo, you were supposed to come back, find answers, and nothing happened. He was just really worried about his father. And he kind of brings Ellis back to earth and gives him a little pep talk like, look, man, you be with your girl however long, you just spend that time with her, because it's really important. He doesn't want to see him go through the same thing he went through with Abby. Then it cuts to Jim waking up. He's there with Christy, just taking care of him. He's there with his family, Tabitha, Ethan, and Julie. Jim asks the kids to kind of step outside so he could talk to Julie, and he was really afraid that he lost Tabitha. He thought that she died, and Tabitha's definitely shooken up as well. And I'm wondering when she's going to kind of open up to Jim, because she didn't really say too much. All she said is, like, I dug down there, there were no wires attached to anything, and it just freaked her out, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of this place kind of most definitely brought these two together under certain circumstances, but it's interesting. So now we get to the dude Randall, and he's still giving Donna a hard time until Boyd steps in and gets a little straightening going and says, hey, look, feel free to go into the woods and live how you want to, or you could sit here and have a roof over your head. And he pretty much checks Randall. And I love that, man. I love that about Boyd and how people really respect Boyd. Even though him and Donna don't see eye to eye, I think she worries about him and looks at him as like a sign of relief. If he's okay, then I'll be okay. But if he's freaking out, then I don't know how we're going to be able to keep all these people together. Then we cut to Tabitha, Julie, and Ethan. And Ethan says, I hope Victor's not mad that me and Jade was going through his room, because he just asking about Victor. But then Tabitha goes to talk to Kenny's mom and asks her about storage. Like, we lost everything. We're going to need some clothes. So that's really interesting as well. Boyd and Donna get to talk about rations and, what we got to do. And he's still kind of not telling Donna everything. And Donna really wants Boyd to just say, like, yo, what happened out there? Then this is where shit gets crazy, as while Ellis and Kenny are out setting up traps, they hear an alarm go off, and they find what they believe to be a dead body. It's Kelly's dead body, but then she wakes up. She has a whole rod sticking out of her head, and Kenny immediately runs to go get Christy to see what she can do. So then we cut to an interesting scene here where Victor comes back to his room, and he sees that somebody's been in there and took something, and it happens to be Jade. Jade took a lot of things from Victor's room. He took a violin, and who knew that Jade was a violinist? Very interesting things there. And Jade starts to kind of press him about, like, yo, do you know what this symbol is? Do you know who this is? And it doesn't seem like Victor wants to answer, which makes me think, is Victor really on our side, or is he an op? Is he in opposition? Is he an enemy? Is he what I'm saying? Whose side is he really on? And it's very interesting, and it would make sense if he was on the other team, because of how long he has been able to survive. Christy and Mary start to have a conversation where Mary doesn't feel too comfortable with her situation, so she wants to kind of stick around with the bus people. But then Kenny comes in and tells Christy, like, yo, we need your help. Ellis is sitting there talking to Kelly, and Kelly's just describing to Ellis what happened that night, that these two monsters just dragged them out. They killed Brian, but they did it because they wanted to make her watch, and they just left her there. So they have never really done that before. So everything that these monsters are doing is very intentional. They're trying to probably either get their attention, or who knows, man. It's just really freaky, and I feel bad for Kelly in this moment. Jumping back to Jim, where he starts to see the the exit sign start to flicker, and then he's met with the old lady. He meets the old lady, asks the old lady, yo, where did y'all go, or where were you heading? She talks about races, and she also mentions that Mary and Christy were supposed to be engaged, which makes Jim think about certain things, like maybe something is connected. Tabitha and Elgin have a scene together where Elgin asks, like, is there a lake? And Tabitha takes Elgin to this lake, and he talks about how he's seen these dreams. But Tabitha's like, there used to be this girl here, Nadine, that says, like, yo, we're probably just stuck here. And I think something's going on with Fatima, where Ellis mentioned this in the beginning of the episode, where there's just this little piece of her that is slowly starting to drift away, and he doesn't want to lose her. Then we go back to Christy, and she's seeing the situation that Kelly is in and trying to comfort her, thinking of different ways of what she could do. You know what I'm saying? And there was this scene where she's like, am I okay? Well, Kelly is saying this. Kelly's like asking Christy, am I okay? Kelly's like, no. She's like, am I going to die? Most likely. Very, very heartbreaking stuff, and it's sad where she's alive and they think that maybe they could probably save her, but it's not realistic. Meanwhile, while Julie and Tabitha are kind of looking through different clothings and stuff like that, having a nice little mother-daughter moment, they're walking out. Tabitha sees these two creepy ass ghost children. Don't know why she is seeing these, but she definitely gets some bad vibes. Meanwhile, Boyd is out to go talk to Abby at her gravesite and tells her about Ellis getting married, but also is really freaked out by this dude Martin and like how he would know Abby's name, and he's starting to just doubt this reality, and he's starting to slowly slip away until he hears Kelly screaming, and he's just right around the corner pretty much, and he pretty much helps get the rod out of Kelly's head, but then she ends up dying anyways. And that was just really sad, how she wanted them to pass off some message to her mother saying, like, I know that we fought before we left. So there's definitely a theme of a lot of people having fights, or certain things aren't going right with their relationships, and that's a lot of the themes that you see throughout these different characters, that they have a lot of problems with their lives, whether it be family or relationships. I find that to be very interesting, and that's kind of like the pieces that we got to put together to figure out this puzzle. Going over to Tabitha, though, she starts to kind of open up to Julie, talking about Thomas, and saying that she used to be able to feel his presence, but when she saw these little kids, she didn't feel that good presence. She got some bad mojo from them. And then she goes to talk to Ethan, and Ethan's playing with this new toy that looks just like the thing that was in the caves. So things are definitely connected here. And then we get this conversation between Boyd and Donna, and this is where things get very interesting, where he starts to talk about his first tour in Iraq, and the person that died in his arms was named Brian Kelly. and the people that pretty much died was Brian and Kelly, and Boyd is like, yo, that can't be that can't be a coincidence, you know. There has to be something to that. Donna tries to pull him back, like, look, I need to know that you have your shit together. You don't have to tell me exactly what happened to you in the woods right now. I'm gonna wait till you calm down, but you got to make sure you're good, because if you're not good, all this is most likely going to fall apart. Then the episode ends with Kenny going to Father Crabtree's house to kind of look around. But what he finds down in the cellar is fucking Sarah. And we're all probably wondering, like, where has Sarah been this whole time? Did the faraway tree take her to this cellar? Specifically, does the faraway trees kind of based on emotions? I know Martin said it's kind of at random, but maybe it's not random. You know, a lot of things went down in this episode. R.I.P. to Kelly. You know, it's really sad. And I like that here we thought that she was just going to be a kind of throwaway character. And they did something very interesting. And that adds a little bit more mystique to the monsters. And yes, we have a lot more questions, but I definitely think that the pieces are being put in place with season 2. And I love this episode. I love where this is going. I'm just enjoying the ride. I want to know how you feel about this episode, though. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments below. Until next time, I'm out.